You grow up in a house where money is treated like bad news, always present, never discussed directly. It's Indiana, 2001. Your mother works the front desk at a medical clinic she could never afford to visit herself. Your father drives a forklift at a steel warehouse on the night shift because nights pay slightly more. You learn early that adults can be exhausted without ever saying they're tired. Every Friday night, bills are spread across the kitchen table like cards in a game nobody wins. Rent, electricity, insurance, late notices stacked by urgency. You and your younger sister share a room until middle school. The apartment walls are thin enough that you hear your parents whispering about money after they think you're asleep. You're not poor enough for people to notice. That's the dangerous kind of broke. Your shoes almost look new. Your clothes almost fit right. Your smile arrives exactly on time because you already understand people only look closer when something feels off. At school, you become obsessed with business. Not the glamorous version, the real version. Why companies charge different prices for the same product. Why some people stay trapped no matter how hard they work. Why your father can lose promotions to men who care less but belong more. One night at dinner, your father quietly reaches for another serving of rice after finding out the supervisor position went to someone else, again. Nobody talks about it. Your mother asks if anyone wants tea. Your sister keeps eating. And something inside you hardens. Because at 16 years old, you already understand something most adults never admit. The system was never built for families like yours. That night, sitting at the kitchen table under cheap yellow light, you make a promise to yourself. You will learn the rules well enough to never depend on someone else's system again. His name is Calvin Marsh, 31 years old, self-made millionaire, calm in the way powerful people become when they no longer need approval from anyone in the room. He visits your high school for Entrepreneurship Day because his niece goes there. Most students are bored. You're taking notes. After the assembly, you follow him outside before you can talk yourself out of it. He's standing beside a car worth more than your entire apartment building when you ask, "What part of your speech was actually true?" He studies you carefully. Which part sounded fake? The passion part, you say. Nobody works 18-hour days because of passion. For a second, he smiles. Not warmly, respectfully. That night, he sends you a folder full of raw market data with no explanation attached. "If you can tell me what's missing by Sunday," he says, "call me." You find 4 gaps before Saturday morning. He calls 11 minutes later. For the next 18 months, you become his unpaid research assistant, which sounds unfair until you realize proximity to knowledge is more valuable than money when you're young. You spend weekends inside a cramped office filled with whiteboards, spreadsheets, cold coffee, and people moving faster than everyone else. You take 2 buses to get there. You bring food from home because once you understand compound interest, convenience starts looking expensive. That's where you meet Teresa, operations expert, sharp eyes, never wastes words. She teaches you the lesson that changes your life. Every business is just a chain of problems, waiting for someone smart enough to notice them first. You absorb everything. While other girls your age are planning vacations and relationships, you're learning margins, negotiation psychology, operational bottlenecks, customer retention. Your friends start calling you intense. You pretend it's a joke. But secretly, you know something they don't. You are building a version of yourself designed to escape. At 21, you build your first company. Not a trendy app, not a fake girl boss startup designed for social media. A real company solving a real problem. Mid-sized logistics companies are losing millions because their delivery contracts are fragmented and outdated. Different vendors, different rates, different terms, no system. So you build one. You call it Emma. Simple, clean, unforgettable. 8 months of sleepless nights inside a tiny apartment shared with a roommate who barely asks questions anymore. Kelvin offers you $150,000 for 35% ownership. You say no. It's the first time you've ever told him no. Because by now, you understand something dangerous. Ownership matters more than validation. You graduate college on a Saturday. You officially launch Emma on Monday. After the ceremony, you call your father from the parking lot. He stays quiet for several seconds before saying one word: proud. That single word hits harder than every investor meeting combined. You raise $1.8 million from angel investors while giving away only 14%. Emma grows quickly because the product actually works, and most products don't. By 24, you have over 100 employees. By 25, nearly 500. At some point, you stop knowing everyone's name. That bothers you more than the pressure. Then the acquisition offer arrives. Tuesday morning. $2.9 billion. You're 26 years old when the money hits your account. You stare at the number on your phone and feel absolutely nothing. You expected relief, arrival, completion, some emotional moment where your younger self finally feels safe. Instead, there's only silence, a strange low hum inside your chest. You buy your parents a house. Your father walks through every room, touching the walls like he still can't believe any of it belongs to him. Your mother cries in the kitchen. That moment feels real. Everything after that feels manufactured. Lawyers, interviews, security teams, board meetings. People stop speaking to you normally once they know how much money you have. You stop knowing whether they love you or access to your life. At Thanksgiving, your younger sister picks you up in her old Hyundai. She's a teacher now. She looks genuinely happy. On the drive home, she sings loudly to an old song from your childhood without caring how bad she sounds. And suddenly, you realize something terrifying. You can't remember the last thing you did without calculating its value first. Every dinner became networking. Every conversation became strategy. Every hour became optimization. Meanwhile, your sister is just singing. And somehow, she feels freer than you do. Emma eventually replaces you with a professional CEO after the acquisition. Officially, it's mutual. Unofficially, corporations prefer founders most when they're useful for headlines. You watch the company slowly become something you barely recognize. The mission changes. The culture changes. The customers change. And eventually, you understand. You were never the company. You were just the beginning of the story. You try slowing down. Luxury apartment. No alarms. No meetings. It lasts 3 months. Because the hunger that built you never learned how to rest. It was created years earlier at a kitchen table covered in unpaid bills and quiet disappointment. That hunger doesn't disappear once the money arrives. It just finds new targets. So 6 months later, you start again. New city, new company, new obsession. At your first team meeting, 40 employees are staring at you, waiting for direction. And you feel the hum again. Not happiness, momentum. Later that night, you think about your father icing his back after warehouse shifts he never wanted to work. You solved the problem you promised yourself you'd solve. Your family is safe now. But the version of you built inside struggle still doesn't know how to stop running. Because success doesn't heal the wound. Sometimes the wound becomes the engine. And somewhere right now, another girl is sitting in the back of a school assembly, while everyone around her scrolls their phones half asleep. A successful entrepreneur is on stage explaining success in a way that sounds comfortable. The girl is taking notes. She thinks she's learning how to become rich. What she's really learning is how ambition can save someone financially while quietly consuming everything else. After the assembly ends, her legs will carry her somewhere before her brain understands why. And another story will begin. It always does.